Hi there, and welcome to Friday's edition of Faith in 5, where we believe you can build your faith in just 5 minutes. And guys, we're going to close the week out strong. I have another great Bible scripture for you today. And here's the thing, we're going to be in Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament, Ecclesiastes 7, starting in verse 10. You know, Ecclesiastes was written by, of course, Solomon. Solomon was a great king. It was actually King David's son. He was the king when God came to him in a dream and asked him, what do you want from me? God was going to give him anything. Solomon asked for wisdom to judge justly. And God was impressed with Solomon and what he asked for. He gave him that and then everything else because he saw his heart. Now in Ecclesiastes 7, starting in verse 10, this is one of the scriptures I want us to focus on. All right, so in Ecclesiastes 7, starting in verse 10, the Bible reads, "Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions." I'm going to repeat it. It says, "Do not say, why were the old days better than these? For it is not wise to ask such questions." And I thought about that for a while, because I pondered on it. What's the difference? What's the big deal? And actually, it's a huge deal. If you keep pondering, looking back and say, wow, I remember the good old days, that means there's nothing to look for when you think about it really in the future. Sometimes we got to watch what we say. If I'm saying the good old days, so what do you mean? There's no great days ahead of us? Yes, it probably was great, and we need to have an appreciation of it. But at the same time, there is more to do, and there's more great things happening up ahead. And we got to be careful because sometimes we get stuck in that. I think about it when you look back, when you go on a family vacation or if you had a great vacation, and you think about it, you're like, wow, that was such an amazing vacation. I wish I can do that again. You see, when you use that word, I wish, that's like saying, oh, it can never happen again. But it can if you change the way you think. So Solomon's saying the reason why it's not wise to think that way, because you limit the way you think when you do that. When I think about it, I think about cars. When you buy a car, if you have a car, if you've driven a car, the car has a speedometer, the speedometer. And it goes from a lot of us 0 to 120, whatever have you. But how many of us ever went the whole speed limit? How many of us just driven the car all the way up to 120 miles per hour? Maybe a few of us, but not a lot, right? And why is that? Because when we drive on the road, there's always a speed limit. Every time you pass somewhere, speed limit, 55. Speed limit up ahead, 40, whatever have you. So we never get to go the full mileage or the full extent of that gauge because there's a limit on us. The same way there's a limit on us when it comes to our thinking and a limit on us when it comes to the past, we could put that on ourselves if we keep focusing on the old days. God has so many great things ahead for us to do. And the scripture is saying it's just not wise. Don't think that way. There's so many great things ahead. Yes, you had a great life already, but it's going to get even greater. You see, when we think about retirement. Somebody works a job and then retires. But there's still more to do. I want you to think about this today. Think about what is just still more to do. God have great things ahead. If you stop looking behind you and you look out in front of you, and you start thinking again, you start raising your belief, you start knocking down those mental speed limits, right? Just like those car speed limits, you knock it down and you push that speedometer all the way to 120 mentally. Think about what you can do. What dream do you still have? What vision do you want to move towards? What do you think you can't do? Take the limit off of that and pursue it. You see, this is why it says in that scripture, it is not wise to say the old days were better than these. So guys, thank you for joining me today in Faith in 5. Let's remember the lesson from Solomon. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe, and see you next time on Faith in 5.